Oh, hey guys, what's up? We're here at Lead Gen Millionaire course, and today we're going to be talking about the jumping on a call with the advertiser, right? So far we've talked about getting an offer, we talked about going to networks, we talked about going and looking up what the avatar is and the Dream 100 and all that good fun stuff. Today, we're going to go into how you handle talking to an advertiser, the different ways of going about doing this. I know you guys have been asking a bunch of questions about this, so we're going to go into detail with this. If there's other questions outside of that and you guys are so anxious to get going, we'll do it on the Q&A afterwards. But so for now, let's dive in. We ready? Unless there's anything else, let's do it. All right, so just to review this again, the advertiser is the person who is buying the leads, okay? They have an offer that they want to promote. They are looking for more customers. This is called new customer acquisition. If you're ever prospecting and you're looking to speak to somebody in the company for the advertiser, they might have a title of in charge of customer acquisition, marketing manager, online marketing manager, things of that nature. But so ultimately, the advertiser is the person who has the end product or service that is buying the lead and then actually fulfilling on whatever that product or service is at the end. And they're the ones that are paying. Okay. So when should you do a call? Okay. Once you get a deal, it's so important for you to build a relationship with your advertiser. The relationship with your advertiser is the difference between you having a deal for 5 years or never, right? When things go bad, and things are going to go bad sometimes, things aren't going to work. When you have a relationship, you show them that you are valuable to their business and they understand that, then there's always ways for you to continue on and work together to make something work, okay? So typically, I start off with what I do as a discovery call, right? So in the beginning, we do this discovery call where we're going to talk to the advertiser. We're going to go over all kinds of things about their business and get a good lay of the land. It's almost like if they were to hire you to work in their marketing department and your job is to go out and help them get distribution for driving new customers, you'd want to need all the information to be able to do your job. That's what we're doing. We're acting as a third-party marketing company for them. But ultimately, you want them to love you. And that's how you start the business. After you get the deal, which we could talk about later, what you're going to want to do is set up either like a monthly call or bi-monthly call to just touch base with the advertiser, go over how things are performing and things of that nature. But today we're talking about more just getting started. All right. So when you get on a call with these guys, first thing you want to do is just get all their information about who they are, what they're about, right? Especially if you're going to be like writing up an insertion order for them, you need to know the name, the contact name, their email, phone number, who's in charge of accounting, who's in charge of the marketing side of the business, helping you with getting all the assets, the links, and things of that nature. So you want to just get all of that out of the way off the bat, all right? Then once you start diving into the conversation, you want to understand who are you talking to, okay? Now, you could be working with the end buyer, which is the advertiser like we described, or there are times where you might be talking to a broker, okay? That is somebody who has the relationship with the advertiser, and then that person is the one that's going to be your client, and then that person is then going to have the relationship with the advertiser. So as an example, when you guys go out and you sign up for affiliate networks, they're the broker, right? They're the ones that are in the relationship with the advertiser and they're bringing that deal to you. Over time, as we start to do this and you guys start getting into this and setting it up, when we have our tracking Tommy software that you have your own account, you are going to end up becoming a network. You are a broker as well, because what you're doing is you're going out and getting deals, then you're finding distribution with a publisher, you play in the middle. So what you're trying to figure out right here is who is it that you are actually working with. You always want to work with the end buyer if you can. However, you don't always start that way because you don't know what offers work. So it's okay sometimes to work with brokers just to figure out what's working for you. And once you figure out something that you can make work, especially when you're doing it with a broker, you know there's a higher payout on the street, and then you can go and do more work to go vertical on whatever the offer is that's working for you. Okay, so a broker. This is somebody who is taking someone's offer to a publisher. You guys are going to be considered a broker. a matchmaker is what we call you guys, right? Ultimately, you're the one that's going out and representing somebody else's offer. It's very similar to a real estate broker, right? A real estate broker goes and does a deal with someone who's trying to sell a home. So they're representing the home seller, and they're out looking for buyers who will buy that home from them. And they're the broker in the middle. They don't own a home. They didn't build the home, nothing. They're just representing them. You're doing that exact same thing. You're just doing that online with leads for companies like advertisers. You're the broker in the middle. You're the matchmaker that's out there, and you're looking for buyers. You're going to go find a publisher who has any audience that you can get that offer in front of that audience to generate the lead, and then it goes to your link that goes to the end buyer. You get paid, you pay out your publisher. Okay? So the end buyer is the advertiser. The end buyer is the person who is buying the leads at the end. No, it stops there, okay? They're the ones that are fulfilling on the product that you're selling, the service that you're selling, whatever you're promoting. They're the ones that are going to deliver on this. They're the ones that you typically want to get to. You want to get to the direct buyer. But like I said, it doesn't have to be like that in the beginning, especially if you're not sure. You don't want to waste a lot of time trying to go out and get a deal with a direct buyer and then find out you don't know how to get traffic for them, or the traffic you're getting is terrible quality. Now you wasted all this time working your butt off to get a direct relationship, and then it didn't work. You got to start all over. That's why you want to figure out what's working first, where you can make money. So sometimes it's okay to give up a little bit of margin just to figure out what's working for you, where you find your niche. And then once you figure that out, then you can go at it, right? If you're getting $6 from a broker and you're able to generate leads that are working at $4, well, then if you go to a direct buyer, you know you're likely going to get higher than $6, right? So now you know you can just have more margin there, or you have more allowable to buy more traffic. So now let me show you a little bit about how this works. Here's some flows. The advertiser goes to the broker goes to the publisher. So we're going to show you these different flows so you can just understand this from a higher level, okay? So as an example, Match.com, okay? They're an advertiser. You have a deal with the matchmaker, right? As a matchmaker, Match.com is your client, and now you go out, or I go out and go and find a publisher. We find a publisher like a mailer here, right? This is this dating site that's generating signups with emails, and we get this mailer to send Match.com to their database. And then what we do is we pay out to the publisher, and then that we get paid from Match.com. Okay? The publisher to the matchmaker to the end buyer. Okay? So in this scenario here, we are looking at this where we have a publisher that goes to you, that then goes to the advertiser. All right, so similar scenario where we have the email database, we have people signing up, we have a big list of people. We're able to then go out and get distribution to that person, and then those leads go to the end buyer, Match.com, and from there, the same flow happens. All right, sorry. Some people have exclusive relationships with the advertisers. So matchmakers, brokers, networks, we call those AOR, agency of records. Okay, this is really, really, really sexy if you can make this happen. You typically can't get this off the bat. Okay, you need to show somebody that you know how to drive traffic, you know how to drive good, high quality traffic, and you can do it at scale. Okay. And in that scenario, there are a lot of advertisers out there that do not want to deal with the publishers. They do not want to deal with handling like the affiliate world, the getting the distribution, managing people, paying out 15, 20, 50 different publishers a month. They don't want to deal with that, right? It's much easier to pay a company like mine for me to deal with all that, for me to go and get the distribution of 50 different publishers, hand out all the links and the creatives and tracking and the invoicing, and me paying out to 50 companies when the advertiser will just pay me one time, right? So there's a lot of value in bringing all of this to the table in the services, not just being able to get traffic, but ultimately manage the entire program. And when you do that, you are essentially the advertiser, because if somebody wants to run the offer, they need to come to you. Okay. So in a scenario like realage.com, we were AOR. Okay. Pimsleur Approach, we were AOR. We have a deal, Daily Break. You guys can go check it out today. I think it's Break Time Media. We get about anywhere from 10 to 20 deals a month that they send to us, where they give us the deal. We go out and push it out to the marketplace. If anybody wants to run the offer, they come to us. If they go direct to the advertiser sends them to us. It's something you need to work towards. But at the end of the day, if you're working with a broker, but they are the AOR, they are it's essentially their offer, right? So you are as direct as you possibly can be with the advertiser, because the advertisers want to talk to you. They've contracted with a company like ours. Hopefully one day you guys will have something like that. And then you're in a really good position and you have a very big edge to scale that business and make big, big money. So here's how the flow works, okay? When the advertisers go to an exclusive broker, to the AOR, and then what would happen is it would go to you, okay? See this guy jumping up where it looks like me? That's you guys, right? And then it goes to the publisher. So in this flow, it's okay when you go out and you go and talk to a company where you find an exclusive broker, the AOR, who has the relationship with the Match.com company, and then you're out there going and getting distribution. And the way the money flows is Match.com will pay the broker will pay you, and then you will pay your publisher. But what you'll notice is every time there's a layer, what happens is the money just starts to go smaller and smaller and smaller. So if Match.com is willing to pay $10 for a sign up, then they might go and give that to the broker for $10, right? And then the brokers then got to make money. So they're going to give it to me for, let's say, $8, okay? And then I'm going to go and give it to the publisher for $6, right? So when you figure out something that's working, you know there's a higher payout in the marketplace. And if you find something that's working, that's doing really, really well, now you have some baseline, you have numbers, you can kind of go to other different types of companies that are competitors of Match and try to get a direct relationship with somebody else if they're already exclusive, saying, hey, I'm already doing this stuff for Match.com. The competitor would, like, their ears are like, holy crap, that's awesome. I've been looking for you and you found me. And they get excited. And now you can give them some data behind what's working. And then you can easily get a deal. You go and you test that deal. If you show them that you can drive good traffic, high quality traffic, and you could do it at scale, you could potentially get an exclusive offer down the road. So yeah, you make as much money with Match.com. However, it set you up to go and start building a business. And then what we call that is, like, you're almost going vertical, right? So you're going from just focusing on driving traffic from all different offers to now you're starting to specialize in this dating world, because you figured out a way to drive high quality leads, and now anybody's going to want your leads, right? So that's where you start to get more strategic, and we can get into that later. So another way this works is a media buyer to the broker to the advertiser, okay? The person who buys media and then sells that traffic to the advertisers or to the brokers or matchmakers. So in this scenario, again, you're in the middle, we're in the middle, us lead gen millionaires are in the middle, okay? A media buyer is a job function. There are people out there that are media buyers in companies. Their job is to go out and buy traffic. So they'll buy traffic on Facebook, on native, on Google, on Yahoo, on display, on search, anywhere on the internet, they're buying traffic, okay? You are creating a relationship with these media buyers. And then what you're doing is you're bringing them offers for them to promote, okay? Now, this is a really nice relationship. When you find this is sexy, because you now have an end publisher who's going to work for you, okay? So, like, it could be a Facebook agency, right? But typically they don't work on a performance basis. But there's tons of media buyers out there that will work on a performance basis. I had one media buyer that I had a good relationship with when I ran the Pimsleur language learning. I would spend with him anywhere from $600,000 to $900,000 a month. I would pay him, and he would be the guy driving traffic through Facebook. Once he showed me that he knew what he was doing, I started to give him exclusive rights to driving traffic on Facebook, because he was able to do it in a way that was good quality traffic, and he had the ability to scale it with volume, right? Because a big thing on that is the media buyer is the one who's going to be spending the money with Facebook, not you, right? So they're putting the risk out on the table, and then you're paying them when they drive a lead or a sale or whatever that deal is, right? And you're only paying them when the advertiser pays you, right? So it's a very sexy offer. And in our contracts, typically when we start to work with companies like this, you want to protect yourselves in a way that when you're bringing those deals, you want to do it in a way where they cannot circumvent you, because they're going to try to do that, right? They're going to start working with you. They're going to realize it's a killer offer. It's amazing. And if you're not exclusive with them, they will try to go around you and go direct to the advertiser. So one of the reasons why in the beginning, when you're working with your advertisers to create this relationship, is you want to be transparent with them. You want to show them they're good guys. You want to look them in the face. Most people will not screw you if they're good people when they see you're working your butt off for them. Even if you're not the exclusive agency. Many times it's happened where I've gone out and I work my butt off to go and find these people. It's a lot of work to find the real ones and then start to, scale that business. And then people try to circumvent me and go directly to my advertiser. And there have been cases where I don't even have anything in writing and they still back me. They still say, you got to go with Eric. If you were working with Eric, you got to stay with Eric. We're not squeezing Eric out of the picture. And it's because of the fact that I created a very good relationship with them, showing them that I'm working my butt off for them, right? So that's the reason why in the beginning, when you're building this business and you're starting to create a relationship, they're just people. And when they see that you're working their butt off for them for free until you drive some action, they're going to start to love you and you're going to become friends with these people, right? So that's the value of that. That's the play. I mean, but just, I was explaining earlier, there was a time where I was working with a company, this Disney Book Club. We had set up the deal and I was transparent with my advertiser and everything. I like to be transparent. Sometimes you got to figure out who it is, but I did it. And they wanted to go direct with my publisher. They wanted to no longer work with me. I set up the whole deal. I did it. It went on for a few years. And he just decided he wanted to go direct. It sucked. However, in my contract, we had an agreement that if he wants to go direct, he needs to pay me for 6 months. And after 6 months, he can then go direct. And my advertiser honored that. We did the deal. He paid me for 6 months straight when I didn't do any work. And then after 6 months, it just got handed off. The links got swapped and I no longer was working that deal with him directly with the publisher, right? And that was just with one publisher. We ended up still working together with other things. Was I happy about it? Absolutely not. I love that the guy was honorable about it, didn't give me a hard time with, saying he didn't want to pay me. He respected that and I respected him. And it was kind of one of those, like, when you break up with somebody, like it's not me, it's you kind of thing. Like you kind of just respect that it's not going to work, but we were all professional about it and we all got paid. So that's the concept. So once you're talking to these advertisers, there's more questions that you're going to want to ask on this discovery call. So like we talked about last week, you want to figure out who the target audience is, right? For you to figure out where you're going to get traffic with your Dream 100, where people are congregating, you need to understand who the avatar is, okay? You want to know who their perfect customer is. The advertisers should already have this information for you. You shouldn't have to do any work. They should be able to bring this to the table and explain to you all of these things. You just have to ask the right questions and they should provide that to you. Depending on the type of advertiser you're working with, right? The more established ones that are more successful and big, they will have it down to a T, okay? And they will guide you. And they should give you all the information they possibly can because you're working for them for free to help them drive new customers. So they're willing to do anything they can to help you, okay? So if you need to, we can have a little refresher here on the things that we want to ask for the advertiser. So things you might want to ask is, who are you targeting? Who's your ideal customer? You want to know all around the demographics, which is age, gender, relationships, household income, the geographic segments such as like culture, where they are they targeting certain places? I had a call with a dental implant company this week to drive some leads for them, and they want to start off in the Denver area to start, right? So that's one of their restrictions. So when I go out and I want to go buy traffic, I have to go look for traffic in Denver, right? The more niche, the more like targeted, it's harder, yet it could be really, really good if you can drive good traffic for them. You just have to find the right placements for it. So sometimes they'll even give you some audiences for you to retarget to. And the way that works is they don't want to give you their email addresses. They won't give you any customer information. You don't even want the customer. There's too much liability there. But what can happen is there's a thing called a hash file. And what they'll do is they'll send to you their entire targeted audience for you to then upload somewhere or give to one of your media buyers to target. And it's a coded email addresses. So you can't see it, it's all coded, but when you load it up into like a Facebook or a Google or wherever you're going to be buying media, or your media buyers going to be buying media, then it will be able to read it through the technology in the back end to then be able to create these retargeted audiences. But so they'll do all of that for you. Once you show them you know what you're doing, they'll do everything because they know you're working your butt off for them. Okay? So some of the things you want to dive into when you're talking to your advertiser is what niche are they in, right? What verticals? You're trying to understand as much as you can about the offer, right? You want to know, are you buying leads today? If you are you buying it on a lead, right? What are you paying per lead? How many leads are you currently buying per day, right? How many leads are you capable of buying per day? So what I mean by that is there's times when you buy leads, right? It's very different than when you drive traffic to somebody's site and they're getting a credit card submit, right? The sale's happening right there. When people are buying leads, that's not where it stops for the end buyer. That is just a lead of somebody saying, I'm interested. Every advertiser, every end buyer will have a back-end process of what they're going to do with that lead afterwards. So you want to understand what their capabilities are and how much they can handle in regards to leads. So you want to dive into where are they buying the leads. You want to understand the history behind what they've done. If there's things that haven't worked, you want to know so that you can not do the exact same thing they've already done, right? So finding out what's working for them and where they're getting the best traffic is going to be really, really helpful in where you're going to laser in and focus, okay? You want to know, are they buying traffic on Facebook? Are they doing YouTube ads? Are you getting people to mail their offers to their database through email? You want to know, do they have an internal media buying team? If they do, you can get a lot of information from them. You want to know, do they work with brokers, networks, affiliates? You want to know what traffic sources they allow, okay? There's a lot of times when you start working with these guys, they may tell you, you cannot buy Facebook, you can't do YouTube ads, you can't go and buy search on Google or Yahoo. And the reason for that could be, one, they did it and it didn't work. Two, they're already doing it themselves and they don't want anybody else coming and competing with them to drive the costs up to buy the traffic because they'd be competing against themselves, right? So there's a number of different reasons why, but you want to understand what is it that they're allowing you to do so that you can get a good lay of the land on how you're going to figure out what your plan is, how you're going to attack this to help them drive new customers. Plus, you're also going to want to see if they are doing things on Facebook and YouTube and all that good jazz. You're also going to want to hack them and see on the internet, what are they buying on Facebook? What are the ads? What does it look like? You want to ask them, what are the conversion rates? What are the click rates? You want to get as much information as you can to start to get some idea of what those numbers look like. Because when you start buying traffic online, when you start doing things online and you're, an online media buyer, typically what happens is over a period of time within the same source of media, you're going to fall into a range where you can predict what's going to happen every single day. And you'll have some expectations of, I'm expecting to get this click rate. I'm expecting to get this conversion rate on my form, right? So the best part about that is once you understand your numbers, I used to come into my office in the morning and I'd be able to just look at stats right off the bat. And I know the numbers off the top of my head that, okay, I know that my form should convert between 25 and 40%. So if I see that something was converting at 5%, that immediately is a red flag for me. Something's up. I don't know what it is, but that's where I start to dive into why is that not working, right? Because it should have been converting at 25 to 40%, right? So if it starts to convert at 5%, that means I'm paying way too much money for that traffic. Okay, and I need to figure out why that's not working and then readjust what I'm going to pay for that traffic based on how it's performing. So there's a lot of that we'll get into with like the media math, but that'll be as we keep going. But for now, I just want you guys to get an idea of like all the things you want to ask and as much information you can get around what they can provide to you from the history of what they've already done that helps you model out what can work for you when you're out there buying traffic and getting distribution for their offer, okay? So You also want to understand what their sales process is and what their KPIs are. Does everybody here know what KPI means? Type in the chat if you do. If you don't, it's okay. I don't expect you to know it, but if you do, then you're just one step ahead. Let's see. Type in here if you guys know what KPIs are. Plus some testing if you guys are paying attention and you're up. I know I could bore people to death. Yep, no, yep. KPI, key performance indicators. Yep, there you go. Key performance indicators. So these are numbers that they're looking, that they have, that they need to hit. These are goals. These are things that are what they're modeling out their business on, if something's working or not, right? The simplest thing when you're out there and you're buying traffic for somebody, the most important thing that you want to know from any advertiser is, where do you want to be when you get a sale? How much do you want to spend for a customer? Okay, that is the most important thing. Okay, so for example, the dental implants guy I spoke to earlier this week was telling me that he wants to back it out to $600 a sale, right? However, he's willing to pay me on a lead anywhere from $5 to $15. So we need to figure out what placements are going to work for this dental implant guy. But still, at the end of the day, I know for every $600 he spends, he needs to get one sale. Okay, so that's really important when you're running these campaigns, because you're going to want to know before they do, right? You're going to want them to provide you reporting. Even though you're not getting paid on a sale, you still want to see it so that you can figure out what's going on the front end, if it's working or not. Okay, so, and every source is going to be different. So that's really, really important when you're trying to figure out with an advertiser what's going on in the back end. You also want to understand, would they pay you if you drive an inbound call to their call center? If they do, what does that look like? If they have a call center, right? And typically the way that works is you either get paid on a pay-per-call of, they'll do it on a duration or a sale, okay? A duration, what that means is you get either like you get somebody to send a text message out to their audience. Hey, interested in dental implants? Today only 50% off. You know, click here to speak to a live expert. They click, and what happens is it creates an inbound call into their call center. And then at that point, there could be a deal where they'll pay you on, let's say, a duration of 60 seconds. So if the user stays on the phone with the agent for 60 seconds, it becomes a payable lead. So that's a pay-per-call offer, okay? It could be also on an allowable lead, right? So you want to know, like, what are they paying per lead? Sometimes guys don't know what they can afford per lead. And that's where when we start getting into the media math, you can figure that out for them, because a lot of people might be just paying out on a cost per sale or a revenue share of something of that nature, right? So then you're going to work backwards and you're going to reverse engineer that. And the reason why you want to understand the sales process, because you want to understand what's going on from the day you generate the lead to when they get the sale, what's happening in between. So then you can kind of dissect their business. One, to figure out from the beginning of what they can afford. But two is, once you start getting the business going, and if it's not backing out, you want to look at some of the numbers through the process to see what are they doing. Maybe they're doing something that you know you can help them fix because another advertiser you're working with is doing something that's working. So what I mean by that is, okay, let's say you generate a lead. The lead then goes into their database. Well, what happens at that point? Are they sending emails to the user? Are they sending a text message to that user? Are they outbound calling to that user? If they are outbound calling, when are they calling them? Are they waiting a day to call that lead, or are they calling them in real time? That's the difference between a campaign working and not working, is if they wait too long to call. So like a lot of times what happens is there's verticals out there where you can generate a lead, for example, Lending Tree, and they sell a lead 3 to 4 or 5 times, right? You guys, everybody knows who Lending Tree is, right? Just type in here if you don't. But Lending Tree's model, what they do is they say, when banks compete, you win. Well, what does that mean? That means they're going to send you your information to multiple banks to let them all compete for your business. If you're looking for a mortgage, if you're looking for a home equity line of credit, all those kind of financial products, right? But what that also means is that they're selling your information 3 to 5 times. So they're going to sell that to 5 people. And what happens is they'll sell that lead, for example, as a shared lead, let's say for $7 a lead. And if they sell it 5 times, they just sold that lead for $35. or they can sell it exclusively where they might sell that lead for $25 or something like that, right? So typically they want to stay in the shared space. But what happens with the shared space is normally only two or three guys in the five will even have a shot, and the other two just do it because it's a lower cost, right? But what happens is if you're advertiser, if you're somebody who's a closer who crushes, you're like, I'll take a shared lead any day because I'm a better at working that lead after I get it than everybody else. So I'll pay $7 instead of 25 because I'm going to go follow up with those leads literally in real time. I have killer shark salespeople, and I'm going to close those leads 80% of the time. So then there's those other people that think they're getting a cheap lead, but it doesn't back out for them. They can't make it work because they're competing against other guys that have the same lead. So just a little bit of like a backstory on how that all works. But you want to get an understanding of how all this stuff works, so then you can kind of work with your advertiser to help them. So you're bringing more value to the table than just you're getting distribution. You're working with them to try to help them optimize to make things work. You're also bringing intel to the table, right? So if you see other things happening in the world, then, I mean, hey, this other advertiser is doing this, they tweaked that and it worked really well. Maybe you guys should try that. And you support it with numbers. You support it with a successful campaign, and then they take you serious. And they also realize, wow, this guy's on the street. He's talking to people. I want to talk to him because he knows things I don't know. He's helping me. And then you're making him look good. In that advertiser's company, you're making them look good, right? Because then they go back to the table and say, well, company XYZ is doing this, and they saw a 20% lift in conversions, and then that was all from you, right? They love you for that. Right, so they want to work with you. So all this information, it all helps you to gauge what you can spend when you're out there trying to get traffic with publishers so that you can be profitable, okay? So when you're getting all this upfront information from the advertiser, you're trying to just understand all of the numbers so then you can figure out how does it work for you, okay? And we'll get into that when we get into the media math, and we'll show you how to do all that. If there's time, maybe we can even do a few examples without going too deep, because I don't want to be here for 10 days and I don't want to throw too much at you guys. But ultimately, the way it works is you're going to try to understand what their deal is. What do they want to pay for sale, right? What are they willing to pay per lead? And then you can go out to the market and figure out, all right, what does my publisher need to get paid so that it works for them? Right? I always say this, and I'll find a video and put it in here. Right? There's usually for a campaign to work, it's four people need to win in the scenario. Okay, the four people in the scenario that need to win for you to have a successful lead gen campaign is one, the customer. Okay, the customer coming in needs something, and you're helping them find a solution for their problem. Okay, two is the advertiser needs to win. They need to find somebody that actually becomes a customer, that they're buying a lead and that person's converting into a customer at the numbers they need to make it work. Three, the publisher, the person you're getting the traffic from, needs to get paid enough money that it's profitable and exciting for them, that they're going to continue to run traffic for you all day long. And number four, you need to make money. So you need to find a middle there where it works for the publisher, it works for the advertiser, and then you have some margin in between there where you're making money, and now everybody's happy. The customer got their service, the advertiser got a customer, the publisher's making money, you're making money, we're all happy. As long as that continues, that business will go on for a very, very long time. If nothing changes, you could do that for years. So by understanding all this stuff, by understanding your numbers, it's so important. And people get intimidated by numbers. So I encourage you guys, even if you suck at math, which is fine, you don't have to be great at math. When guys come and work for me, I get them to memorize things, okay? Certain things that when you're starting to work with people, especially if you're like having a conversation with people, if you know your stuff, you could be talking to the smartest person in the world, but if you just focus on what you do, because I got a lot of guys that come in, we go to shows, they start talking, they're all intimidated, they're scared to talk to people because they're new and they don't know what they're talking about. I said, just focus on what you know. If you don't, everything else, just say, I don't know, that's not my world. Here's what I know. So for example, I'll give you something really simple. Let's say somebody has 1 million email addresses and you want to drive traffic to those 1 million people, and they tell you that they're charging on a cost per thousand, which is a CPM, okay? So whatever number that is, $3 CPM, $3, 1 million, it would be $3,000, okay? I can show you the math. I can show you how to do it later. I can tell you all that good stuff. The bottom line is I know it's $3,000 cost, right? $10 CPM at 1 million would be $10,000 to mail to that list. Just stuff that I just remember, right? When you're in a conversation and talking to people and you start talking about math, when you start doing math to people, you like confuse the hell out of them because they're like, wait, 10 CPM million divided by the 1,000 times, and then like you're gone. You look like the smartest person in the room. Like I'm telling you, you could talk to somebody at Harvard and they'll be like, what? And they think you're like a genius just because of the fact that you understand the numbers and you're able to kind of fly by quick, boom, boom, boom. You're like Matt Damon. And then you guys, all you can say is like, how do you like them apples? Bam, right? I'm telling you, it's powerful. So it's something that we're going to work on. So in conclusion, you always remember, number one, relationships are so important. It is everything in this business, okay? If you do right by people, you create trust, you work your butt off for people, they will stand by you and they will want to work with you on both ends, okay? Advertiser side and the publisher side. So that's why you always want to talk to people. Like a lot of my guys, they're intimidated, so they will text them, they'll be on Skype, they'll use Slack, but they'll never get on the phone and talk to people. Pick up the phone, talk to them. Better if you can get in front of their faces, take them to lunch, meet them at a conference, do something nice for them, show them you're a person, look them eye to eye, right? We're all people. And once they see that and you start to get to know people, they're going to become friends. And even if they're not your person, right? You don't got to go and like hang out and like party with the guy or like go on double dates or gal, right? You don't have to do that. However, it is what it is. You guys have a common interest. You're in the same business. You're both looking to help acquire a customer. That's what you want to do. On the publisher side, same thing. They're looking for offers. They don't have the time to go out and look for offers. They're focusing on whatever they're doing, on what they're good at. They need people like you to be able to bring something to the table, right? It's just they don't want you to bring something that anybody else can get. They want you to bring something that's exclusive, owned and operated. However, if you have an offer that is out in the marketplace that everybody has, and you have the same payout, same conversion rate, same landing page, everything is the same. The difference between somebody running your offer and my offer is based on a relationship. So it does help in a lot of ways. So I always tell my guys when we go to shows, don't get into so much of like the business end of it. Yes, talk about business, but just talk to them. Like ask them about their lives. Like, just be personal. Like try to understand like what's going on with them, because people love to talk about themselves. Okay. If you get people talking, especially at a conference when they're drinking, oh my God, you'll learn so much information, because people are at conferences, people are out there, and most people are trying to make you think that they're amazing. They're so insecure inside. They're trying to ultimately convince you that they're awesome and they're the smartest person in the group, and they're trying to build themselves up. And it's all on their own issue of being insecure. I remember when I first got into this business, one of my bosses years ago said to me, Eric, when you go to these shows, don't tell them anything about what we do, but just play dumb. And I will tell you, like, it's like, anybody ever seen the movie Big with Tom Hanks when he's sitting inside the boardroom and, the guy sitting there, he's explaining something and he's like, and the answer is like, but I don't get it. And then the guy's like, he explains it, but then he's like, but I still don't get it. And the guy starts getting really frustrated and he keeps on asking like, but I still don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, it's hard. I will tell you, it was hard for me in the beginning because when I first got into the business, no one knew who I was. So for me to try to act dumb it's an ego thing, right? Because you don't want somebody to think you're dumb, right? However, when you keep saying, I don't really understand it, can you explain that to me? They tell you so much more information. You learn so much intel about the business that ultimately you come back from a show and you've learned a crazy amount, because people will have diarrhea of the mouth because they want to talk about themselves. They want you to think they're the smartest person in the room. And if you have enough confidence to believe that you're smart and you get it, and that you're actually tricking them into telling you more information than they probably would have or should have, okay? Because they want you to think they're smart, you're going to walk away with some really valuable information. And over time, what's going to happen is you're going to be a stud, you're going to be crushing it, and then it's going to be very easy to do that, right? In the beginning, it's a little hard because you're trying to like make a name for yourself. But trust me, put your ego aside, let your bank account grow, and then I promise you'll be much happier once you start to learn this. But relationships are everything. So when you get on these calls, They're really, really important. You want to stay in touch with people. You want to show them you're working for them. You want to keep in touch with them. Hey, how's the leads working for you? Are they converting? What's going on in the back end? What are you seeing? What's it backing out to? Right? Things of that nature. This is how you do it, and you will build a very, very successful lead gen arbitrage business.
Awesome. So I have a few immediate questions, Eric, here that Lacey asked a really good question. She said, do you let the publisher and advertiser know that you're brokering the deal?
Yes. You don't lie ever. There's nothing to lie about. Absolutely. So you guys in the beginning were signing up for affiliate networks. That is a glorified broker. Okay. A network is essentially what it's defined as. A network is a place where they ultimately consolidate all these publishers into one place. They come to the network because the network is the place where they can go get advertiser deals, right? So everybody knows what's going on there. They know that the network is going to be making a middle. So the answer is yes. Now, there are ways that we're not going to get into right now today, but once we get through this part where you're creating cash flow and we want to just start to build your business and try to help you build up more of like an asset, what you would be doing is you'd be starting to potentially build something on the front end in front of that particular offer where you could have a survey that's yours and you're driving traffic to your survey. And in that case, that's your offer. They don't need to know who your back end buyers are. So that's how you get around that. And you're not lying. You're buying the traffic. You're paying on that traffic, and then you're selling the lead on the back end to your buyers. And that's how you ultimately can keep that on the DL and create more edge and value for yourself. But for now, yeah, absolutely. You tell them. That's the point of when you're asking these questions. So always be honest.
And then at what point do they actually get on a call? Like when do they request a call in this whole process?
Well, you're going to get on a call before you do the deal, right? The first call, this discovery call that you're having a conversation with, well, you're going to be prospecting with them to have a conversation about their offer. It's a prospecting call / discovery call, but you need to know what's the deal, what's it about, and then try to get in contract with this advertiser, okay? Then if you want to dive into more detail, you would follow up once you get the insertion order signed and all the contracts are in place. Then you'd want to have a follow-up conversation of, all right, now let's get all the deets of what's going on. Let's get very focused on what are we doing for you, right? So there's really two calls, the prospecting call on the front end before you have the deal. Once you get the deal, then you have that initiation call before you go out and drive traffic, and you kind of like create like the rules and kind of give them some expectations on how you work and the expectations on like, hey, when I go out and I'm going to go get you distribution, I'm going to bring these opportunities to the table for you. You're not going to wake up and just start seeing 25 different partners sending traffic to you. I'm going to give you a heads up. Every time I get a placement, I'm going to tell you pub 123 will be going live. It's a health list, right? And I give them information. I don't tell them who the health list is. I don't give that's my value, right? But I give them like enough information on what's going on and to keep an eye out. You should start seeing traffic in the next day or two. They're going to be dropping an email to their 1 million people, right? So I'm always communicating back and forth. I'm just ultimately, when you're in lead gen, you're doing this as a broker. I see a lot of people, what they do is they try to like answer the questions and pretending like they need to know more. And I always try to explain, guys, you don't need to know anything. Your job is to get distribution. That is it. You don't need to know about their offer. All you need to do is be a good communicator, right? So if a publisher says to me that they want XYZ, but they can only do it this way, okay, great. Let me get back to you. I call up my advertiser. Hey, I got this health publisher, but they can only do it XYZ and they want this thing. Do you want to do that or not? I'm going to put that in your court because I don't want to make a decision for my advertiser and then it goes bad. And then they're like, what the hell did you do? Why'd you do that? That wasn't allowed. What I do is I explain to them the opportunity. I bring it to the table and I say, do you want to do that or not? Of course, I position it in a way that it's going to be something exciting. And they might say, Eric, what would you do? Which they do a lot. And I would answer the question. And I do it honestly. I don't bullshit them because honestly, like one deal is not going to make or break me. But if I believe it could work, I'd say, hey, listen, this is the opportunity. You could do this. Is there a risk involved? Absolutely. They're saying that their list is converting at 20%. Is that going to happen? I don't know. Maybe we should model this at 10% and let's look to see, can that work or not for us? So then we would do that, right? So I would kind of cut in half what they're telling me, because I don't believe everything people tell me, right? I just want to get a lay on what they're saying, and then I'll figure it out myself once I start seeing numbers. But so that's kind of the way I would do it.